Hi, welcome to section 7.4 for Algebra 1. Today we are going to continue our work multiplying polynomials using the area model. I have 4 examples to show you today. The first one, the instructions say multiply and simplify using the area model. Well, I know this is a multiplication problem because there's invisible math right here, that multiplication sign. So it looks like I have a binomial times a binomial. They're both binomials because they have 2 terms in them. So to set up my area model, I'm going to start by getting part of my box created. And then I am going to have the first polynomial be written down the side. So I have an x plus 3. And then I'm going to have the second polynomial be written across the top of my box of x minus 2. So to fill this box in then, when I go 2 down and 2 across, I end up with 4 different spots. Let's fill in some invisible math. I know these x's really have exponents of 1, so that should help me out a little bit. So now I'm going to fill in each box. First one will be x times x, and that answer will go right here. So I know that x times x is x squared. You add the exponents. Now I'm going to go this cell right here where I'm doing a negative 2 times x, and that will give me a negative 2x. I'm going to do the bottom left cell, and the truth is you can fill out these cells in whatever order you want. It doesn't matter. This cell right here will be a positive 3 times x, which will give me a positive 3x. And then to figure out the last cell right here, I'm going to do a positive 3 times a negative 2, and that gives me a negative 6. So now I'm looking to combine some like terms, and I see that this negative 2 has an x attached to it, and this 3 has an x attached to it, so they are definitely like terms. So to simplify this out now, I will have x squared, and then 3x minus 2x, well that combines like terms to a positive 1x or x, and then you have a minus 6. So our final answer there, when we multiplied and we simplified by combining like terms, we have x squared plus x minus 6. Let's try another. 3 more to go. This one also says multiply and simplify using the area model. I know there's some invisible math right there with multiplication, and when we multiply, that area model will help me stay organized. So I'm going to start by making my box, part of my box, and I'm going to take this first polynomial here and put it down on the left side of my box. So the 4x plus 5 will be split into a 4x and a positive 5. And then my second polynomial, it's a binomial, it has 2 terms, they're separated by that plus sign, will be written across the top of a 2x and a plus 5. So now, to complete my box, a 2 by 2, I'll have 4 cells that I end up having to fill in. So before we get started, I do have some more invisible math. This 4x is to the first power, this 2x is to the first power. That should help me be a little organized. So now to do this top left cell, I'm doing 4x times 2x, which we know we multiply the coefficients. 4 times 2 is 8, and then we add the exponents. 1 plus 1 is 2, so that gives us 8x squared. To do this second box, on the upper right, we're going to be doing a 4x times 5, and that will just, we'll multiply the coefficients. 5 times 4 gives us 20x. If we do the bottom left cell, we're going to multiply 5 times 2x. Well, 5 times 2x is 10x. And then to finish that last cell, we will be doing 5 times 5, which we feel pretty comfortable as a positive 25. So now I look at my cells. Do I have any like terms? I absolutely do. This 10 has an x to the first power behind it, and the 20 has x to the first power behind it. I can't include the 8x squared because that x has an exponent of 2. These both have exponents of 1. Remember that invisible math right there? So those are like terms because they have the same exponent. So now when I rewrite this and it's time to finish this problem and combine like terms, I'm going to put it in standard form. So the term with the highest exponent goes first, And then when I combine these like terms, 20x plus 10x, well, that's going to become plus 30x, and then the constant goes last. So my final answer here is that 8x squared plus 30x plus 25. Pause the video and get this all written down in your notes if you haven't done so yet. 2 more examples. Again, multiply and simplify using the area model. I have some invisible math here. I know it's multiplication. To use that area model, I'm going to start my box. The first polynomial is going to be rewritten down on the left, 3x and then a plus 4. The second polynomial will be written across the top, a 2x minus 9. So to finish this box, it was a 2 by 2, so I end up with 4 cells again. Fill in some invisible math. This 2x is to the first power. So to fill out that first cell, I multiply my coefficients. 3 times 2 is 6, and I add the exponents. 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3x squared times 2x is 6x cubed. Now if I do this top right box, I'm doing 3x squared times negative 9. I multiply the coefficients. Negative 9 times 3 is a negative 27, and that gives me an x squared. Now if I do this bottom left box, I'm doing 4 times 2x. Well, 4 times 2 is 8, and there's an 8x. And then to do the last box, it's just nice and easy. A constant times a constant. 4 times negative 9 gives me that negative 36. I look at this one and I have to stop because I don't have any like terms this time. The 6 has an x cubed attached from it. There's nothing else with an x cubed. The negative 27 has an x squared attached to it. There's nothing else with an x squared, and so on. So this one, there's no like terms to combine, so all that's left to do is to write it in standard form, where you put the biggest exponent first, down smaller exponents till you leave that constant last. So if you look here, that would be as simplified as it can get. So pause your video and write that down before you go on for your last example of the day. This one looks a little bit different, but similar. If you take a second to try to notice what's going on, maybe you'll see the invisible math right here, but this time when you make your box, so far that's the same. My first polynomial is a binomial. I've got the 3x and the minus 1. But then when I go to write down this polynomial, I notice there's 3 terms instead of 2. The nice thing about the box method is that that's fine. It doesn't change anything. Let's write it out, separate it by the different terms. You know, terms are separated by those addition and subtraction signs. So now my box, I end up with 6 cells because it was 2 down and 3 across. Now let's fill in any invisible math that we have. This 3x is to the first power, that 2x is to the first power, and let's start filling in our cells. For this first one, 8x squared times 3x to the first. Well, you multiply those coefficients. 8 times 3 is 24. You add the exponents. 2 plus 1 is 3. If we do this next one in the top middle, we're doing 3x to the first times 2x to the first. Multiply the coefficients to get 6. Add the exponents to get 2. This last guy, we're doing 8 times 3x. Multiply the coefficients to get 24, and then you just have an x. Now to do the bottom row, the bottom left will be 8x squared times negative 1. Well, that's just a negative 8x squared. This bottom middle will be 2x to the first times negative 1. So we have a negative 2x. And then to finish, 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. So I'm looking for like terms here, and I think I've got quite a few actually. This 6 has an x squared behind it, and the negative 8 has an x squared behind it. So those are like terms we will combine. Keep going. This 24, whoops. Oh, my pen just froze. There we go. My 24 has an x behind it, and so does this negative 2. So those are like terms we can combine as well. So to finish this up, we'll combine like terms and put everything in standard form. The 24x cubed will come first. Then we'll do the x squareds. Negative 8 plus 6 is a negative 2x squared. Then we'll do the plain old x's next. Negative 2 plus 24 is 22x, and then you have the negative 8 on the end. So that would give us our simplified answer when we multiply those polynomials. Pause the video, make sure you have this example written out. You have a short homework assignment where you'll do about 6 of these exact same type problems. So when you turn in your assignment, I want to see area models for done for all of them, and combine your like terms and simplify and put your answers in standard form. Thanks so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.